Hello, hockey fans. Welcome to the Hockey Valley Report. I'm Steve Penstone.
And I'm Rodney Martin. In this episode, we'll cover the Lady Icers games with California, Pennsylvania, and NCAA Division III Cortland. Later on in the show, Ice Lions head coach and Icers and Lady Icers goalie coach, what doesn't this guy do, Josh Hand, joins us to discuss the Icers' latest games, including the first loss of the season at Delaware, and his take on the Icers' goaltending trio. But first, we'll start with his Division II Ice Lions.
Well, they're still sitting in the number 3 spot in the ACHA Southeast rankings. The Ice Lions had a perfect November, going 4-0. They began the month with a 2-game sweep of number 4 Virginia Tech at home. Followed that up with a 4-0 shutout over MACHA rival Temple on the road in Philadelphia. Then completed the month with a 3-1 victory at ACHA Division I Drexel. The Ice Lions are really tearing through the Division II of the ACHA this year. A lot of points coming from the Blue Liners, so I guess you could say that Josh is getting points from the point.
Indeed, Steve, and that brings us to our next segment. We often use terms like the point, half boards, and slot in our discussions here on the Hockey Valley Report. So we thought it'd be nice to clear things up for those who may be new to this great game.
Well, so let's head to the dirty areas of the ice, get some weak side support, and go top cheese. And we'll tell you what all that means in this week's installment of Perloff's Pointers.
Thank you for joining us on this week's edition of Perloff's Pointers. Today we're joined by Vince Chandler and Icers defenseman Brandon Russo. We're going to go around the rink and show you different areas that you might hear about when you're watching an Icers game. So we're going to do something a little different this week. Instead of me explaining to the audience, we're actually going to have Brandon do the explanation because I have a funny feeling he may know a little bit more about hockey than I do. So we're going to take it to the whiteboard. We're going to show you the different areas of the rink, that you might hear during an Icers game. Let's start with the point. Tell me about the point.
All right, so yeah, we got the point right here, right on the blue line. This is usually where I'm at most of the time. I'll be shooting a lot of pucks from here. I'll be trying to keep the puck in the zone. Usually we have 2 defensemen on the blue line, or known as the point. And I mean, that's pretty much the general, I mean, that's about it for the point.
All right, well then take it down to the side of the circle. All
right, down here on the sideboards, right on here, these things are called the hash marks. Over here is usually where you'll get a few shots at a different angle towards the net. You'll get some cycling of the puck. The puck will be moved down the boards. There's some time and space over here for some creativity, I guess you could say. I mean, usually you don't get a lot of defensive play here, mainly because of how much room there is. Only if there's a loose puck on the wall or down in this area. But you're not. A lot of the play over here is just small stuff, and then everyone's always trying to get to the net and drive to the net from this point right here.
So you're talking about driving to the net now. Yep. That typically takes place in the high slot, the low slot, right?
Yeah. Well, driving to the net almost takes place anywhere. I mean, I know on our team that's one of the biggest things. Our coach continuously tells us, we practice it every day. Drive to the net, drive to the net. It creates rebounds. It shocks, stuns the goalie a little bit when he sees someone flying down at him. It pushes the defenseman back, but a lot of it comes from the high slot, which is right around this area here. In our rink, there's a big S right here, which I guess you could say is the high slot. But you're getting a lot of shots from there, and you're getting a lot of drive to the net. All the forwards, the center, whoever's in the center of the ice is coming right through the high slot, and they're driving straight through the net, down through the low slot, which we like to call the house. On the board, when you have a marker, usually like this, it's a house. And in the defensive zone, you have to protect this at all costs. You protect the house, and that's because that's the most vulnerable place for the other team to score a goal. If they have the best chance, they're going to be trying to score in this house. But for us on the offensive team, this is where we're trying to get pucks to. We're trying to shoot pucks from there, and when we're in here, we're not trying to do any crazy moves or anything. We're just trying to get the puck to the net.
Is there anything you can tell us about, the crease area behind the net, like the corners, anything about the...
Well, this right here, this is the crease right here, and that's pretty much the goalie's domain. One quick thing about that, the players are not allowed in it if there's, like, before a goal is scored, there's some... The rule, no one really knows the real rule, but whenever the ref sees someone inside the crease, they blow the play down. So yeah, the goalie's inside there. Behind the net is, I mean, when we're talking about the goalie can play the puck behind the net. The goalie can, in our league, the goalie can play the puck wherever he wants. In the National Hockey League, right here, there's 2 lines that go behind the net, and that confines the goalie to that space. Therefore, he can't go outside of either the crease or behind like the net to play the puck. But like I was saying, in our league, you know, our goalies come out here and play the puck wherever they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that you know, that covers most of the offensive zone. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, no
Appreciate the explanation.
No problem.
So now we're going to demonstrate these areas on the ice with a little game of skate between Vince and Brandon. Basically, they're going to take shots from the areas we just talked about, and if one of them hits a post, the other player is going to get a letter, and we're going to play to skate and see who wins. Here we have the guys shooting from the point right now, just above the circle and just below the blue line. Neither of them can hit that left post, it seems like. My money's on Brandon. I don't know if Vince has it in him. Getting a little close, boys. I feel like my grandmother would have a better time hitting one of these posts. Thinking maybe Vince is gonna win this one. Maybe not. Oh! Off the crossbar. Blistering shots. That was a howitzer from Vince. We're setting him up at the high slot to take more shots. It is S to S. This is really close. This is scary. Brandon wins it in about 3 shots. Having the boys shoot from the opposite point. And Brandon made it quick again. It looks like SKA. Vince has got SKA and Brandon only has an S. Shooting for the short side post. Wonder who's gonna win this one. So, looks like they're gonna give Vince a little bit of a handicap in the low slot. Brandon has to hit all 3 before Vince just hits 1. I think Vince might have a chance this time, I don't know. Oh! Vince with the post, eh? All this accuracy is blowing my mind. Thank you for tuning into this week's edition of Perloff's Pointers. I want to thank Vince Chandler and Icers defenseman Brandon Russo for joining us this week. Next week, we're going to take a behind-the-scenes look of the Greenberg Ice Pavilion and what goes on before an Icers game. I want to send it back to Steve and Rodney in the studio.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Some great stuff, as always.
Quick time out here on the Hockey Valley Report, but when we return, we'll take a look at the Lady Icers' recent games. See you in a few. Welcome back to the Hockey Valley Report. He's Steve Penstone and I'm Rodney Martin. And as promised, we'll turn our attention to the Lady Icers, who are currently ranked 10th in the ACHA Women Division.
And since we were last in studio, the ladies were in Pittsburgh, completing the road half of a home-and-home series with California of Pennsylvania. Senior Sarah Croman notched a hat trick, and freshman Mary Tonetti backstopped the team's third shutout of the season in a 6-0 romp.
Heading into the Thanksgiving break, the women continued their really tough schedule of varsity opponents with a 2-game set at home against NCAA Division III SUNY Cortland. After a heartbreaking 2-1 overtime loss on Friday night, the Lady Icers were down 2-0 in the second period on Saturday. And despite what Coach Brandon called their best 38 minutes of effort on the season, they were unable to complete the comeback and fell by a final of 2-1. Rob Pedlow has the highlights of all the games.
The Lady Icers continued their season as they traveled to Pittsburgh to take on the Cal U of PA Vulcans in ACHA play. Penn State opened the scoring just under 8 minutes into the first period on the power play as Madison Smitty carries the puck into the zone, takes a shot, and puts on her own rebound as she falls to the ice. Now up 2-0 in the second period, the girls are once again on the power play, and this time it's Elizabeth Denny cashing in on her second goal of the night and 5th of the year. Later in the period, the girls would take advantage of another power play opportunity as Madison Smitty scores her second of the night on this blast from the point. She would tack on an assist for a game-high 3 points. The girls as a team would go 4 for 5 on the power play, and goaltender Mary Tonetti picked up her first shutout of the year on her first start of the year as the Lady Icers rolled over the Cal U of PA Vulcans 6-0. The following weekend, the girls faced off against SUNY Cortland, this time participating in NCAA play. Cortland started off the scoring, seizing a 1-0 lead just moments after the start of the second period. Later in the second, they would add to their lead as a Cortland defenseman pinches to keep the puck in the zone and makes a nice backhand centering pass to a forward waiting to punch it home. Penn State would put the SUNY Cortland goaltender to the test, but through the first 2 periods, she had all the answers. That is until late in the third, when Katie Murphy finally beats the Cortland goaltender to pull Penn State within 1. With just under 30 seconds left in the third, the puck is chipped up the boards where Tess Weaver picks it up, splits the D, and gets a shot off, but just can't beat the Cortland goalie as Penn State falls to SUNY Cortland by a final score of 2-1.
Thanks, Rob, for that report. We'll take a quick break and be right back with Icers goaltending coach Josh Hand. See you in just a moment right here on the Hockey Valley Report. Welcome back to HVR. I'm Steve Penstone along with Rodney Martin, and it's a pleasure to welcome the man of many hats when it comes to Penn State hockey, the goalie coach for the Icers and the Lady Icers and the head coach of the Division II Ice Lions, Josh Hand. Josh, how'd you find time to join us?
Steve, you know, I just I found some in my busy schedule, so I appreciate that introduction. But
The man whose business cards actually fold out like
yeah, it's multi-sided business
Almost,
card, yeah.
almost as big as Joe Boz, you know.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it could get that big. So.
Well, listen, you've been working. Let's focus on the Icers right off the bat. You've been working outside of the regular practices with all 3 goalies, Matt Madrazo, PJ Musico, and Timmy Carr. What exactly are you doing, and how is it helping them?
Well, you know, I mean, we have, you know, last year we had a little bit of time to work with the goalies with the time we had last year on the ice, but this year we've been allotted some extra time that we can use to hone some of their skills. In a regular practice, you know, sometimes the goalies will see a lot of shots, sometimes they won't. So it's one of those things where if you get extra time, you want to take advantage of it and use it. A lot of the times we're spending, you know, I'm a type of coach that'll give, you know, the goalies the options of what they want to work on, what they feel their weaknesses are, because they're in the net and they have the feel for the game and what they're doing, and I try to add as much as I can to help them tweak little things, but we don't change anything big. We don't make any big adjustments. These guys have gotten to this level because of the way they play, and you don't want to make anything that changes that or alters that. So, you know, we work on little stuff and stuff that we see in the game in the past that we had problems with, and you know, pretty much just get a lot of shots and a lot of reps in the extra practice.
Now, you've got 3 different goalies, really 3 different styles, so that has to make it a little difficult for you.
It is. You know, we try to play to each person's style when we're practicing, and obviously work on their strengths, but also work on their weaknesses. You know, a lot of people say always work on your weaknesses, but if you got good strengths, you need to work on those as well. So, like you said, we have got different styles in goaltenders. You know, PJ is a much bigger goalie than the other 2. Matt is, you know, a quick goaltender, and Timmy does a nice job staying square to the puck. And it's a nice combination, a nice mix of three guys that can stop the puck.
Yeah, again, having 3 guys, but 2 guys, PJ and Matt, have been carrying the load. They have 5-0 record, 5-1 record, respectively. They've been getting a lot of making it easy on them on some of the teams. That the offense has been just pumping in goals. But to talk about how the defense has just been kind of stepping up and keeping the shots to the outside for them most of the season.
I guess my philosophy is that I don't think any game is easy for a goalie. Goaltending is probably one of the hardest positions in sports in general. So even if you have a game where you have facing 10 shots, I mean, you could have 9 quality scoring chances, and you still got to come up with the saves and make those saves. But the way that Coach Godowski coaches, and obviously Coach Lindsay and Coach Fisher, it's a very up-tempo, high-paced game, but they do a great job playing defense and saying, hey, we've got to get back and we've got to get up and down the ice and play defense, and it makes it easier on a goaltender. The shots are different. The shots are shots that the goalies can handle if we're playing in the way we want to play. It's been they've done a nice job this year.
I'm sorry, you mentioned about how there's no easy games, and how both PJ and Matt have a shutout. But I think it was at Illinois where that first game where Coach Godowski said that was, it was a really lopsided score in the final, but that was one of the best shutouts.
Yep.
That one of the best goaltending performances he's seen.
I remember that game. Matt had to make a bunch of saves that were, like you said, quality scoring chances, even though the shots were a bit lopsided.
And you were talking about the lopsided shots. I mean, as a former goalie, although not at this level by any means, when you are back there and you're only facing 2 or 3 shots a period, the concentration has to be sharp, because you can come down and they can come down and be half asleep. Absolutely. And put one behind you.
I mean, I've coached in a lot of games and played in a lot of games where the shots are 15-5 and it's 1-0 the team that has 5 shots on goal, and there's nothing more frustrating for that than a team. So if a goalie is able to save all 5 of those shots, it's a really big momentum booster for them.
Well, one of the things, of course, is that they've both got the shutout, both PJ and Matt. And, they've come close to getting a couple others. We talk about that one of the Illinois games as an example. As the goalie coach, in your mind, what's been the key to them getting those goose eggs?
I think that they're hard workers. They're very good goaltenders. Yeah. I mean, all 3 of our goalies are very good goaltenders. It comes down to concentration. A shutout is not an easy thing to do against, at this level and in the college level against any team. You play a team that maybe is a little, on paper is maybe a little bit weaker than your team, but you still have to come up with those 10 saves. And I think they've done a nice job competing. They get along, all 3 of them. They push for each other. You've seen them, all play games and do a nice job. And I think it's just their attitude and their concentration and the way they're working, I think, is all a good combination, a good mix for the success that they've had.
I know both PJ and Matt, they want to get that goal. And Matt tried last year. I think PJ has tried this year. Yeah. Not so sure about Tim, whether I'm sure he wants to get one, but PJ and Matt especially love to play the puck. And there's been a couple of times, from up in the broadcast booth where I've looked at him and go, oh, you mean, especially in Illinois, because I know Matt said to me that the first time he went out in the corner with the 115-foot wide rink, he kind of went, that's a long way back to the crease. Yeah, so I mean, do you try and put a rein on them to rein them in?
I do, but I trust those guys to make good decisions. Mm-hmm. And during a game, you don't want to say, hey, don't go play the puck, or be careful. We might mention, hey, this was a bad time to play the puck, or this is the time we don't want to play the puck. Try to do a little bit better job. I mean, one of the things that we're blessed with is that all 3 of them can play the puck, and that's a rarity. Some goalies just don't have that touch in terms of playing the puck, and you've seen Matt and PJ give opportunities and tries at it. Yeah. But the reality is that you've got to make good decisions when you play the puck, and if you have a goalie that can do what these guys can do, it's very frustrating for another team's forecheck, and you can lead. If you make the right play with the puck, you can lead to positive scoring chances for your team by pushing it up and playing it away from the forecheck. So it's a weapon to use. Like you said, you got to use it in a timely fashion, because you can get in trouble with it, and you've seen goalies get in trouble with it. But I think our guys have done a good job.
Now, Go
I
ahead.
want to say I just wanted to mention. I mean, we've been focusing so far on PJ and Matt, but I mean, Tim coming in here. That you talk about having a weapon. It's like let's do eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Let's throw somebody in. Yeah. And Tim when he did get his first start on the road at Rhode Island. Talk about his progression this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's been Johnny on the spot in terms of when he's gotten his opportunities to play. He's done a really nice job. Being the third string goalie or the second string goalie, playing behind somebody who's a starter, which we really don't have right now, is something that is not an easy job, because you got to come to practice every day. You got to mentally prepare yourself all the time. My philosophy right now is that I think having depth in goal at any level is very important. The days of the Patrick Waz and the Martin Brodeurs, you really don't see a ton of that anymore. You see teams winning in the National Hockey League with multiple goalies, because the scoring and the pace of the game has gotten so fast, and the pads have gotten so much more. It's hard. It's a hard position to play. Not that it was easy before, but they've tried to make it harder. Mm-hmm. So having guys that can step up and when the bell's rung, be there and make good decisions and with the puck, like we were talking about, or making timely saves is really important. And Tim's done a really nice job with the opportunities that he's got, and I'm sure that if he gets opportunities down the road, he'll be ready for it.
He says it's a hard position to play now. Having played back in the days of the old brown leather and horsehide stuff, or horsehair stuff.
Put the pillows on your legs.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, with the equipment they're wearing today, and you wear that type of equipment when you played, it's a whole different ball game. I mean, I always joke that back when I played goal, the coach would yell at you if you went down in the butterfly. I mean, now they yell at you if you don't.
Yeah. No, I mean, the equipment obviously has changed a ton, and some of it's positive, some of it's sometimes too much, I think. But you ask what we do in some of the goalie sessions. I mean, all the goalies have got new gear, and so we spend a ton of time trying to break it in, because when that stuff gets broken in, it's nice, but when you first get it out of the package, it's pretty stiff and it's tough to handle, and especially when you're trying to control your rebounds and stuff like that. So it's equipment that's come a long way, but it's something that I think our guys enjoy. You always love the gear when you're a goalie. So
yeah, exactly.
It's not like the big Gar Snow shingles that he had a couple.
Yeah. You got a chance. You went to Delaware for the road game with the team. You're back on the bus with the guys. It had to be fun.
It was great,
despite the loss.
It was great. I love going to Delaware. I loved going last year and doing what we did last year, and this year was great as well. They get a great crowd. They're a great team. They're very well coached. They've done a nice job trying to build a program there, and it's a great rivalry for us. And I know back in the day we had a big rivalry with teams like Ohio and Ohio U, but Delaware and Penn State, the last couple of years have really been great hockey games, and I think our series against them proved that. As when we went down there, it was a great game. When they came here, it was a very good game too. So being on the bus with the guys is awesome, and Coach Godowski does a great job in terms of getting guys ready, and the whole package that he brings to the table is second to none.
So in that Friday game, Icers' first loss of the season. Give us your report card of how the team went, starting from goaltending out, because it was tough for Matt because he didn't really get a lot of support. We made some costly turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, we try to play, and Coach Godowski preaches a game that you don't turn the puck over, but that you play with speed and you attack the net and you put pressure on the opposing goaltender. So in terms of giving grades, I mean, that's sort of tough to do, but I think that you saw mistakes that we made, and everybody saw that we can't make as a team, and we don't want to make as a team. And sometimes it takes making those mistakes to learn from them. Because we've had we had a lot of wins, coming up to that, and sometimes it puts you back in check in terms of, hey, there's some teams that can play in a very competitive ACHA league, and you got to be on your game every single game, and you can't turn the puck over like we did. And credit to Delaware, they made us pay for it, but I thought we came out the second game and did a really nice job in terms of addressing some of those issues. The coaching staff addressed the issues in the locker room with the guys, and they came out and responded, and we had a positive outcome.
Absolutely, they certainly learned from that lesson, and sometimes you have to lose to appreciate the winning. Let's take a quick look at what you do with the Lady Icers as well, because their goaltending has been top notch as well.
it's I've had a great opportunity to work with both teams and all the goalies, and the women's goalies have really responded well. They really work hard for me. I never have any problems in terms of what I ask them to do, and because of that, I think we've had great goaltending on the Lady Icers side, and that's something that any team needs and loves. So I know Coach Brandon's been really happy with them, and it's something that we want to continue.
But you kind of have a different situation here, like where the Icers, you have, like you said, you have a three-headed monster there, as it were, in net. But you've been really, Katie Vaughn has been pretty much your go-to goalie this whole season. Yeah,
I mean, Katie's gotten into the net, and she's, like I said, she's worked super hard every single practice, and she's really earned, that number one spot. But they have we have goaltending get depth at the ladies Icers level as well, and I think it's shown in some of the games that we've had that Katie's not been there, but she's a really hard worker, great person, and very easy to coach, and that's always a perfect scenario for a goalie coach like myself.
Well, Josh, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you finding the time in your busy schedule to join us, and hope to have you back again in the second semester. Talk a little more goaltending, and if you've got a favorite player or a coach that you'd like to see on the show, or if you have a question, you can drop us an email to hockeyvalleyreport@gmail.com. Take a break and be back in just a second. And welcome back to the Hockey Valley Report. Well, Rodney, it's been a great season so far for Penn State hockey, and still lots of exciting hockey to be played before the teams head off for the Christmas break.
Absolutely, Steve. And before we're back here in the studio for the last time in 2011, the Icers will face Rutgers on December 2nd and 3rd before closing out the semester the following weekend with what's always a very tough road trip down to Lynchburg, Virginia, and two very physical games against the Liberty Flames.
Absolutely right, and they'll play a good Canadian brand of hockey, which of course I love. Lady Icers, meanwhile, headed to Kingston, Rhode Island. They'll take on the Lady Rams and then wrap up the semester with a home-and-home series against another NCAA varsity opponent, this time Division III Newman University.
And again, Steve, Newman University being a team that the Icers are going to be playing early in 2012. The Penn State Ice Lions will be traveling to Warwick, Pennsylvania for the MACHA Showcase in a huge matchup with Maryland-Baltimore County on the 2nd. And their final games of the semester are on the road at Delaware and Rowan on the 9th and 10th, respectively.
Be sure to check out PennStateHockey.com for news, video clips, and a whole lot more. And don't forget, you can email the show at hockeyvalleyreport@gmail.com. I'm Steve Penstone.
And I'm Rodney Martin. Special thanks to our guest, Josh Hand, on behalf of Steve and our crew. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to join us again next time on the Hockey Valley Report.